Welcome back for part 2 of the Excel crash course. We are building a invoice for a fake company named Tammy's Treats, which sells lots of yummy cookies and snacks. And at this point, your spreadsheet should look like the one on the screen. If you're starting with part 2, then you would probably want to pause this video and create the spreadsheet that you see there so that you could work along with the video. If you're not sure how to build a spreadsheet that looks like the one that you see, it might be a good time to go back and watch part 1. In this video, we're going to work with numbers and formulas. Let's get started. The first thing I want to do is enter the numbers in this column that show how many dozens of cookies we're purchasing. And just like with text, you go to the cell that you want to enter the information on. So here I clicked on B9. And now instead of typing text, I'm just going to type the number. So I put in the number 2 and I hit enter. How does Microsoft Excel understand the difference between text and numbers? Well, Excel knows that the numbers 0 through 9 represent numbers as opposed to text. So if you're entering just numbers or decimal places, then Excel looks at it and says, oh, this is a number. And you'll notice that this number is right justified, meaning that it starts at the right side of the cell instead of the left side, whereas text starts at the left side of the cell. Whatever I type in, if it's a number, it'll say, oh, that looks like a number, and move it to the right side. You can also use dollar signs and percent signs. So if I came into a cell, and I'm just going to go to an empty cell that I'm not going to use, like B19, and I can say $15, $15.95, and it'll accept that as a number. You'll see, and you can usually tell that it's a number because it moves it to the right, but you can also tell by going up to your format box, and then you can pull this down, but it'll tell you what the format is: general, number, currency, accounting. Those are all number formats. If I go to text, it'll also be general, but it'll be left justified, whereas the number is general and right justified. I can right justify my text, so I could click on the text and then go to the Home tab, and then I could use this alignment button to align right or align left. But if I haven't done that, then that's kind of one of my clues is, oh, this is a number. You can also do a percentage, so 15%, and that would actually be 0.15 is what the value that would represent. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that stuff. We don't need it. Let's put in some more numbers. So we've got peanut butter clusters, chocolate walnut fudge, and bird's nest cookies, and I've got 2, 1, 1, 2. Temporarily, let's change walnut fudge brownies or whatever that is to number 2. And all I have to do is go to the cell and retype the number. I can also, just like text, I can go into the cell, change that to 21. That's a lot of chocolate walnut fudge. So back, just put a 1 in there. So you can either go into the cell and edit it just like you did with text, or you could go to the cell and type over it. If you're going to replace it completely, if you want to delete it, same thing. You would just go to the cell and press delete. Okay, let's add a price. So 4.95, 7.95, 9.95, and 7.95. So I now have quantities and prices. You see that entering numbers is pretty straightforward. The next question would be, let's look at this address, 123 Main Street. Is that a number or is that text? And the answer is that Excel thought it was a number until I hit the space after 123. And once I entered that space, then Excel went, oh, that's really text. And so in this case, that cell is holding text. In addition to numbers and text, we can also put formulas into a cell. Formulas are different from numbers, but they represent numbers. And the way that you tell Excel, hey, here comes a formula, is you always start a formula with the equal sign. So in cell D9, I want to create a formula that multiplies the number of cookies, or the number of dozens, times the price to get the total price. So in this case, I'm going to start my formula with the equal sign that says, here comes a formula, and then I want it to calculate the value in B9, which is 2. So I'm going to click on B9. And then I'm going to say I want that times. So times is represented by the asterisk. So if you're going to add, you would use a plus sign. If you're going to subtract, it's a minus sign. Times is the asterisk, and then divide is the slash. So if I was dividing, I would use that slash right there. So times, and then I want the value in C9, which is the 495. So there's my formula, equal to B9 times C9. And if I hit enter, what it gives me is 9.9. So 4.95 times 2 is 9.9. That's awesome. The best part, though, is that if I go over here and change the number of dozens to 5, then it will automatically update when I hit enter the price to $24.75. Now here is a common error that a lot of people make, and I'm going to go back into this cell, and we're just going to get rid of the B9 times C9. What if I said it's equal to 5 times 4.95? What will that do? Well, the answer is it'll do the math. It'll take 5 times 4.95, and it will give you 24.75. So it looks like everything's working okay, but what you've done is you've basically robbed Excel of its power, because if you wanted to change the quantity or the price, this formula is not going to recalculate because it's using hard-coded or literal numbers. So if I go over here and I change dozens back to 2, notice that my price is incorrect. And I would have to go into this formula as well and change the 5 to a 2. And that starts to get really painful, especially if you have a big spreadsheet. The answer to that is to always use the cell references whenever you can. Instead of 2, I want to use the cell that the 2 is in. And that cell, if I don't know what it is, I can go click on it, and it's B9. I can do that. One way to use the cell references is that when you type your formula, so I'm going to start over, I put in my equal sign, and now I can take my mouse and actually click on the cell, so I don't even have to see the reference. I can just click on the cell, boom, there it is. And Excel says, oh, you clicked on B9, so I'm going to stick that into your formula. And I'm going to use my times operator, and then I can go click on the cell again, C9, and now I can hit enter. And now because I'm using cell addresses and not the numbers, I can go to the actual cell that it's pointing to, and I can change those numbers, and my formula will automatically re-update every time I change the spreadsheet. Pretty cool. All right, I want to do this again for this cell. Let's practice this. So equal to, and then click on the cell, put in my time sign, click on the cell. Pretty cool. When I hit enter, it automatically calculates. That's awesome. Now, it seems like it would be painful to put in every formula. Can I take this formula and copy it down to this cell? And the answer is yes, you can. So if I take this formula, and there are multiple ways to copy and paste formulas, for now we're going to just do copy and paste. So I'm going to right click on the cell, and in my menu I can choose copy. Then I'm going to go to the cell where I want to put it, and I can right click and choose, oh wow, there's all kinds of pastes. For now, just choose the first one, which is paste everything. And look, it actually did the math, and if I go into the cell, it actually put it on the right row. So something really cool that happens in Excel is that if you copy a formula, it will figure out how far you moved that formula when you paste it back in, and it will change the formula so that it matches the new row. So here I'm in a formula that says take B10 times C10 and give me the answer. When I copied it down a row, it changed it to B11 times C11. So it was on row 10. I went down a row. It said, oh, add 1 to the row number, and now it's B11 times C11. If I copy it again, so here we go, right-click copy, right-click paste, and notice that now my 11s are 12s. So pretty cool. If I would copy that to the right, it would change the B to a C and the C to a D. Neat. So that's how to enter a very basic formula. We also have tools in Excel that are called functions. Functions are pre-built formulas. Somebody else did the work for you, and you get to benefit from their hard work by just using this predefined formula. Functions are set up so that when you type a function, you use the function name and then parentheses, and every function has parentheses. The parentheses, inside those parentheses, you're going to put the information the function needs to do its job. We call those parameters. There are some functions that don't need any parameters. There are other functions that need lots of parameters. In our case, we want to build a function called the sum function, and there's a really easy way to do that. Go to the bottom of a pile of numbers that you want to add up, and then go to your Home tab, and then on the ribbon, choose Auto Sum. And when you click that, it's going to look at the column above the cell that you're in and say, oh, you probably want to add up this whole column. Let me give you all of the numbers that are highlighted, the sum of that. So here's the name of my function, and it takes a parameter, or actually you can put multiple parameters in it. What it wants is the numbers to sum. This is a range. A range is nothing but a group of cells, and to specify a range, you give the top left cell, the bottom right cell, and then you separate them with a colon. So what it's saying is all the cells between D9 and D12. And there you can see that they're also highlighted. So if I just hit enter, it automatically gives me the sum of that column. And what's really cool is if I go back and change this to 5 dozen iced sugar cookies, it changes my total. It also changes this subtotal down here. So just by changing the number of cookies, everything else that's calculated recalculates to give me the right answer. Let's get the tax amount. So in Indiana, the tax amount is 7%, depending on what county you're in. So I'm going to make another formula that gets me 7% of 58.55. So that formula would be equal to, click on D13 because that's where my sales are, and then multiply that times 0.07. Now here I'm hard coding the tax amount, and you could validly ask, is that wise? How frequently does the tax amount change? And if you're concerned about it, the answer would be, I'm going to go ahead and enter so you can see that it worked. I could create a data area that would hold the tax rate, and then we could use that 0.07 in the formula by referencing I2. So instead of hard coding 0.07, I could now reference I2 in my formula, and when I hit enter, I get the same number. Something else that I like about Excel formulas, if you double click on your formula, it's going to, in the formula itself, it's going to color the different cells, and then if you notice, the same color is used as the background color for those cells so that it's easy to tell which cells are being used in the formula. Kind of neat. All right, our shipping is going to be a hard-coded $4.95, and again, just like with the tax rate, we could have a shipping variable here, and we would just use that constantly. So if we needed to change shipping, we would change it one place. All right, so now if I'm going to do that, I have a really weird formula. It says equal to, and then I just point to one cell. So in this case, it's equal to I3, and I hit enter, and it's just going to get that value and bring it back onto my sheet. What's my total do? It's equal to the subtotal plus the tax plus the shipping. So equal to D13 plus D14 plus D15. I'm going to hit enter, and that gives me my total. So at this point, you can now enter numbers into your spreadsheet. You can enter functions into your spreadsheet, and you can enter formulas.